and welcome to IRL F3 Preseason Test 1, and it's Belgium, so it's gonna be probably a difficult track for many people, as of what I've understood so far, but hopefully, even with a small grid, we'll have a good race. That's at least what I'm hoping for. But yeah, so I can walk you through the grid so far then, and as you can see, there is a lot of drivers from previous seasons, but there is also some new drivers, which is gonna be interesting. So I'm just gonna I will be walking through it then, and first in the Ferraris today. I do remind you though that today's cars are not their cars for the season. So today in the Ferraris we see actually an old pairing from the summer season that ended not long ago. We have Tim Bruce-Dalins and Billy Mossum. Both drivers I think will be able to fight up there today, so should be interesting to see what they can do today and how they will actually perform. As we are in quali then, I'm gonna walk you through the rest of the drivers. And there is one Mercedes here today. That is Jägermal, as you can see, and his name is, it is Jägermal Johnson. Jägermal Johnson. Probably gonna be some difficulties pronouncing that name this season, as it is a Norwegian driver. Of course, for my sake, I am also Norwegian, so not really that difficult for me, but for anybody else, it's probably gonna be a little more difficult. As I see that somebody is on their way out. And that is James. As we are not actually getting game sound. Hopefully it'll fix itself soon. But yeah, James, as we are watching him then, James is a previous driver. He was there last season in F2. Struggled from time to time there. He is now moved down to F3 for this season, at least for the moment. And he will probably be one of the favorites for this season. I would not be surprised if he shows to be one of them at least. As you will just have to excuse me a little right now. But we can see that James is about to start his lap. Oh, as Matt Romano, the Force India, you can see sitting in first at the moment, has retired. That is not surprising. I know he does not do quali when he does league races. And so I'm not very surprised by that. But he is, for the matter, a new driver this season. Gonna be interesting to see how he can do. As we see that James go through this section into Puon in a McLaren today. Getting a good run through Puon here. Coming into the bus stop, James's first lap on the hard compound will be a 47.8, and I don't know. I'm not actually sure how good that is on the hard tires. But with that, we're gonna jump over to another new driver, a fresh face in IRL, Martin Kim, and this is a driver I think he's gonna have his ups and downs this season. I think he will have tracks he's very strong at. I think he's gonna have other tracks where he struggles. But as he's coming into the last corner now on the soft compound, he will be doing a 47.3, so not sure. I think he might have made a mistake on that lap somewhere, but we see that Tim is probably the first one who has gotten in a good lap with a 44.8 by the Ferrari driver. Then we have Shane today in the Haas seat, also a recurring driver, and struggled in the races he did last year. He wasn't the driver who attended the most races, but hopefully he'll reach some more this season. On the other hand, I think Shane might be the guy who has had this game the shortest amount of time so far, so gonna be interesting to see. Ooh, as James on his second lap get it a lot more together with a 46.5 on the hard tires, so he's showing himself up there. We can see that Callum Anderson, also another previous F2 driver, has done a 47.1 on his soft tires. As we have Shane here. Is he gonna finish this lap? He's aborting. And we can see that Yigamal also has done a 46.4, putting him second so far. What about Billy? Billy tried to fight for the championship in the summer season. Struggled sometimes there, but he did get. But he was up there. He tried tried to do his best, and he did end the season still fighting for the championship, but he could just not reach up to the top there. But now out on the hard tires, this is not gonna be a good lap by him, I think. So we'll have a look at a driver who's actually chosen the Williams today, and that is a little surprising. People tend to avoid that car, even though I, for one, I like it pretty well. But Michael, as you can see, he's boarding his lap, going into the pit again. Then we have a driver we haven't seen race in a long time now, and that is Shark Boxhorn, and it's gonna be interesting to see. I haven't seen much driving from him the last the last year when I think about it. So gonna be interesting. He was in IRL season 4. He was and that is a spin and a half in Puon. He took the inside curve. That is definitely something you don't want to be doing. And it did not really work out for him there. But it's still gonna be interesting to see what he can do. He struggled that season 4 in IRL, but obviously back then IRL was one tier, only an F1 tier, and yeah, for him he really struggled against some of the really quick guys. So now with 3 tiers, trying to even out the field a little, and maybe we can see him do something in this tier run. And here we have another new driver, also another new Norwegian actually. So it's good to see that my fellow Norwegians, to see more of my fellow Norwegians, to be fair. And this for you then is Bjorn Einar Langfjell. It's a little weird to say that with an English accent. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what he can do here. I have, of course, seen him race, so a little at least. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he will be able to do here. So we can see that he's out on the soft tires, but as the morning I actually am though, he isn't actually on the lap yet, so I guess we'll be seeing him starting a lap then, as I can also see that a few of the front runners, Tim, I see he aborts his lap going into the pit again. Let's have a look at Tim then. I think Tim probably will be the top driver in this year. I know there is drivers there who will be able. That Mercedes probably had a spin input on. Might have messed up Tim's lap. And I am sorry guys if you feel like I'm spacing a little out, but also just making sure that F2 is also underway. As we can now see that Tim has improved his lap to 44.4. We can see that James has improved his lap to 45.4. Callum Anderson, F2 last season, didn't really get much out of that, but he was one of the drivers really enthusiastic about getting an F3 running, and well, as you obviously can see, we did get an F3 running in the end, even though it's not a big grid today. I did also see that F2 doesn't have the biggest grid today either, but I know a few people have said they're away this weekend, so that's how it is sometimes, but hopefully during the season we will see larger grids. Calmno on the medium tires, it will be an improvement, I think, at least. As we see that Calm aborted his lap, so I believe Yigermal is about to finish his lap as it does a 45.9, making an improvement. And Marshall, good to see you tuning in. We are gonna be jumping over to maybe Michael. Michael is not doing a lap. Shane is on his out lap. Same is Shark Boxhorn. And Boxhorn is the first one of those two, so we'll be having our eyes on him first, and then see if we can get them both over the line when they finishes their laps. And if you're watching, who do you think is the favorite for the season? Obviously, there is a few drivers who's not here today that I think can do well, but I think we have the three biggest favorites. Yeah, sure, Marshall. You should obviously be in F3. Sounds like the right tier for you. Ooh, as Shark is having a very wide exit there. Ooh, and that is very wide in turn 1, 2, and I'm not sure if his lap got invalidated or not there, but we'll have a look at Shane as he's starting his lap 2, going up Eau Rouge. Such an historic corner we have there. Unfortunately, there was a big crash here yesterday in the real life F2 race. And we will be paying our respects to Antoine Hubert. As we see, yeah. We will be paying our respects to Antoine Hubert in the middle, mid between quali and formation lap. We will have a 1 minute silence with absolutely no sound from me before the formation lap to pay our respects for the talented F2 driver that, well, unfortunately passed away. Well, Ivan, just send me a message on either Twitter or PSN and we'll see what we can do for you. Shay now on the back straight will be able to improve his lap. As you can see, we have 3 drivers in the 45s, 1 driver in the 44. Tim is absolutely showing dominance right now. As we have Shane getting an invalidated lap, unfortunately for him. And we'll have a look at Callum Anderson, who's just started his lap. As we can see him after Camel straight hair, 4/10 up on his time. It's definitely gonna be an improvement. I don't think Callum's been on the soft compound yet, so it should be, as he's coming around this corner, taking a wide line actually. Well, thinking about it, that might actually be the normal line. Into Puan. As Martin calls it a day and retires from quali, no more improvement from him. Then what about Callum? Billy calls it a day. He will stand with a 45.8. Callum is 1.6 up on his time now, so it's definitely going to be an improvement, and I believe it's going to be a 45 then. Come on, Callum, this is what you wanted. You wanted an F3, you got an F3. Around the last corner, it's gonna be a 45.4 and third on the grid so far. Not too shabby, not too shabby, as we see that James has actually improved his lap to 44.5. Almost taking that pole position from Tim, but it is Tim Bruce Dalins on pole today. And finally we get game sound. And for the first preseason test, then we see Tim Bruce Dalins in first, just under a tenth ahead of James Sands. Then we have Shane in third, Callum in fourth, Billy Mossam in fifth, Yimal in sixth, Martin in seventh, Michael Marlowe in eighth, struggling so far on the game, but hopefully he'll get a little more into it. Then we have Shark Boxhorn ahead of Matt Ramona starting in 10th, and I believe Björn Einar Langfjell in Laster, not getting in a valid lap in the end. And as you can see, some of the drivers have opted for black helmets. Some of the drivers also opted for number 19 to pay their respects to Antoine Hubert. But here the start goes, and it's Tim leading into the first corner. It's a bad start by James, and it's a little wheel-to-wheel banging here. But everyone seems to have gotten out of the first corner fine, as we see Michael. And ooh, and there are some cars going side by side in Eau Rouge, and that did not work out. As we can now see Callum Anderson under attack from Yigamal. Yigamal will not be doing it this time. And we can kind of see the top 4 drivers right now pulling a little away, and we can actually see Tim pulling a little away by himself too, as Billy and James battle it out for 3rd place at the moment. See that further behind there we have Michael Marlowe, who did actually say earlier that he's barely spent any time on this game yet and is struggling. Oh, and there's been a major one between Billy, James and Shane. So the 3 guys of the top 4 went out in one corner there. As we can now see Billy under attack from Michael into the bus stop. And it's looking like Billy is on hard tires actually, so you are a special one, aren't you, Lewis? But yeah, we have Matt Romano sitting in 5th at the moment, in a good position there. But oh, look at this! I think Billy might be the one to make an overtake on this straight, but not this time. But look at this though, Tim has just blistered away from everyone at the moment. Obviously he's a little lucky with the 3 guys following him in the beginning, all going out in one corner. Unfortunately we didn't catch that, but I just noticed a message in the live stream chat that I don't think anyone finds that should be said. But look at this though, Matt Romano, he's getting close to the back of Yigermal on his medium tires. He's kinda going for a move into the bus stop here, but he's staying behind so far, and it looks like there is a little leg spiking here. But Matt, can he do it down the long straight as he goes a little wide on out of the corner, turn 1. Matt Romano with his black and pink helmet. Oh, almost losing it at Upper Rouge there. I think right now it looks like it might be Bjorn Einar Langfjell who is the closest one to Callum Anderson, but we can also see that Callum is pretty close to Tim, so Tim's obviously made a mistake somewhere. Oh, but look at this, Bjorn Einar Langfjell on the inside of Callum into Puan. They're gonna go, oh, and it's a spin by the Renault. Oh, and he took the inside curb, and that did not really work out for him. You can see a lot of drivers passing him right now. We can see Matt is up to 4th after that. And he's still chasing the back of Yigemal. We will lose, we will. We will realize that Callum Anderson is in 2nd, and well, I guess it's why he wanted an F3 up for this season. He wanted to actually be able to fight for the championship, possibly at least be up there for some podiums, stuff like that. And right now he's sitting in 2nd. He's a little off Tim, but he's also well ahead of Yigemal and Matt, as Matt goes by Yigemal on the straight up to 3rd position. And we're on lap 4, so we're at that area where the medium tires should be becoming the better tire now. But he still has Yigemal not that far behind though, but I can also see that Michael Marlowe is getting close to the rear of Björn Einar. Look at this. He's losing a little. What about Yigemal? Can he stay within the DRS limit to Matt? Right now it looks like he won't be able to do that. But Martin and Langfield might be ending up in a battle in a few moments. Turn 1, you need a good exit now. Björn Einar gets a good exit. He's right behind Martin. Coming up Eau Rouge. He will have DRS, and it looks like Martin have made a slight mistake into Eau Rouge. But it wasn't the perfect Eau Rouge from Björn Einar either. But he has DRS. He's closing in, but he won't be close enough this time. Oh, no, Martin, that is the gravel and that is the wall, unfortunate. And by that he's called it quits for the day. And I have just realized, but we lost. Oh, and somebody, oh, Callum spun in Puon. And right now, Tim is being the luckiest man in this race. He's leading by 10 seconds down to Matt Romano. All of his closest competitors have already spun or once or twice, I believe, so. In the meantime, it is good to see that there is 2 Norwegians in the fight for the podium. At least for me, it's good to see. Always nice to see some fellow countrymen doing well. We can actually see now that they are gonna be getting themselves involved in a battle against each other. And sorry about that. And that is Langfield passing Yigamal. And up to third, and it's clear that Yigamal is struggling on his soft tires now. I think it's clear to say that everyone on the soft tires right now is starting to struggle, while the medium tire runners are in their they have their time right now. You can also see that the gap between Matt and Tim has has steadied itself now. You really want to know, Marshall, what time I actually got to bed yesterday or tonight in the night? Well, I will let you know then, Luis. I got off my PlayStation at around 8 a.m. That would be 8 in the morning. So it got late. It did. But right now we can see that Callum, after his spin, is back at it. He's about to come up to Michael. Keeps it steady in Rouge. Michael does not. He struggles a little there. Callum is right on the back of Michael, passing him on the outside down the Camel Straight, and it should be an easy move, and it was an easy move. Oh, and look at it, Eagleball has lost the car, trying to catch up to Matt Romano, and I think Matt might have had a small off or something too, as he's lost his position to Langfield. Oh, but look at this. It's a train now. It's a train behind Yigamal. Yigamal in fourth, have both Callum and Michael Marlowe right behind him. Well, I mean, 3 a.m. is late too, Marshall. 8 a.m. in the morning is maybe maybe overdoing it a little. Obviously, but I didn't get bored before then. And Callum Anderson on the inside of Yigamal in Blanchimont. He wanted to, but he couldn't keep it there. And he's thinking about it into the bus stop, but Yigamal goes defensive and gets a pretty weird 10-second time penalty there. That is probably a penalty you can get reduced in a regular race, although this is preseason. So, oh, Callum showing himself in Yigamal's mirrors. Oh, and Yigamal has a bad Rouge, and Callum is passed before the Camel Straight really starts. He also has DRS, but Yigamal does have his slipstream, but he won't be able. Oh, will he go for a dive there? He was thinking about it, but he did not go for it. Well, now, Marshall, I wasn't on GTA until 8 in the morning. I was a little on GT Sport, obviously making mine and Marcel's livery for the GR3 season, for the Ford GT. And after that, I also watched a little Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so... Then, at some point after 8 p.m., I fell asleep. Not 8 p.m., 8 a.m. Oh, and we can see that Callum is pulling a little away from Yigamal now. We can also see that Shane and Michael has both pitted over to the medium tire. And right right now. It looks like Longfield might be the quickest driver on track right now, as Tim is, well, Tim has actually gone into the pit for medium tires. He's on his way out of the pit now. Callum pit, Siegemal pit. What about James? He will be behind Tim. You are a nutter. I will not deny that, Marshall. I spaced out for a moment there, just checking in on F2 how they are doing, and well, it was looking a little as expected, but also a little very unexpected by certain drivers there. So, but I know that a lot of people don't really like this track and struggles on it. So, but I think everyone on the grid here today is happy about one thing, and that is as soon as this race is over, they will start to choose their teammates, and then they will get to choose cars after that. So we see that after Tim's pit stop, it's now Longfield in the lead, ahead of Matt Romano. They're both on medium tires, so I will expect them to both go a few laps more than this. I think we'll see them go until around lap 14 there, around there, pitting over to soft tires then. Fastbottle is back in F2. You are correct there, Marshall. He is back in F2. A little question for you here, Marshall. Do you think Mr. Fastbottle can defend his title in F2 this season, or do you think some of the drivers there now will be just a notch better than him? As we see Tim getting past Matt Romano on his fresh medium tires. Matt in the Force India. He's always in the Force India when he does a race. As far as I've seen, at least. Not the Force India, Racing Point actually. Well, obviously I understand that, Marshall, but from the drivers you can see in F2 driving today, do you think he'll be able to defend from them, or do you see somebody who might be a bigger favorite? And obviously for next weekend, when we are gonna be heading to Spain, we'll get a clearer look at who is the biggest title favorites and not. One thing's for sure, I think we can say that Tim is probably the biggest favorite in F3 right now. Of course, after, as he does a 47.6 with his fastest lap now. Also see that most of the people have pitted now. Every soft runner has been into the pit. We can see Billy, Matt Romano and Longfield still out on their mediums and hard tires. Both two good choices there, Marshall. Oh, and that is Yigamal in the wall after a Rouge. And Counts also lost it out of Eau Rouge, but he lost it quite far after Eau Rouge actually, so that's a little interesting how he did that. But we'll have a look at Tim right now as he is slinging that car around the corners. I know that Tim is probably one of the few drivers in F3 right now that really wants to prove his pace today and show that he can be in F2, because I have a feeling he will want to be teammates with Marcel Holler racing in F2, and I believe Marcel is racing today too. Well, he was. So alright, well, good to know, Jared. Oh, and that is Tim in the wall up or Rouge. Is this what's gonna take his win today away from him? He's now behind Matt Romano, who's once again up into second. I will admit straight away that Matt is a driver who's really not aggressive at all. He can tend to let you by even if you're battling each other. But I will also have to say that I have told him a lot of times that I want to see some aggressive driving from him, and on this game I can finally say that he's doing some aggressive driving and I like it. He's battling a little more. He's still not doing quali, but I mean, one thing is, and here you can see an example of him actually letting someone by. Probably one of the nicest drivers you can meet as he does that. Obviously in this case he's on old mediums, Tim is on fresh mediums. Tim is probably is the quickest guy on the grid today, so I don't think Matt would have been able to keep him behind for long. Well, if Leon could do comms for F3, that would be great, Jared. I will have a chat with Leon later then. So that's for anyone wondering, then I am not a permanent commentator for F3, as I will at least most likely be racing in F2 as the F1 grid is looking a lot stronger than last season. There doesn't seem to be space for the bottle of the bottles this season, unfortunately for me. Surely we'll go F3, the both of us, and be teammates. I don't know if that would be fair to the other drivers, but... And somewhere that I didn't notice, Longfield did a mistake. He's now down to second behind Tim, so... Right now Tim is looking very strong, obviously. That is not totally unexpected. He was said to be the favorite. He is also probably the last driver we had to move down to F3 to even out the numbers, to make sure that everyone who wants to have a seat gets a seat. And right now he is making a good case for getting up to F2 again. And Tim, if you are watching and actually can hear me right now, if you could go into Race Director and just screenshot your laps when you're on the final lap, so I could have a look at your lap times. And I can see that down in F2 right now it is Jorge Correa leading the race. I can do that too, obviously, Jared. But you know how my memory is. It's a fact of the matter if I can, if I actually remember to do it. But I will try to remember it. Obviously, if I remember it, then it's fine anyway. And actually, talking about lap times, we'll have a look at the fastest lap so far. It is Tim with a 47.6. You'll remind me. Well, do please remind me then, because then we should get it. But yeah, as I said, Tim has done the quickest lap so far with a 47.6 as Longfield is in the wall. Trying to keep up with Tim on his old medium tires. He's now getting passed by Matt Romano. Matt will take what he can, and he does so. And as we are actually on lap 14 now, I will expect these two to be going into the pit right about now, yeah. What about Billy? Well, Billy's on the hard tire, so he will keep going a little further. And these two will be battling on exit of the pit. And they will also have Michael Marlowe in that battle, as Michael is ahead of Longfield after their pit exit. He has managed to squeeze himself in between these two. Oh, and there is a move from Longfield that does not work out in the end. That leads into a crash between him and Michael Marlowe, and we can now see that Yigamal will be getting involved in this battle as he's right behind Michael. They're both on old mediums now. A Williams versus a Mercedes. That's not something you see often, but you do see it now. And we can also see that James is catching up in the background there. James had that early crash and has kind of been trying to recover after that. Would love to see Matt on the podium. Oh, I bet you would, Marshall. I bet you would. And right now, to be fair, it is looking like you. Ooh, and look at that from Eagermal, breaking way too late. And we can see that Billy has just gone into the pit to fit on the soft compound now. However, oh, and he will be coming out right between Michael. Ferrari against Williams on the back straight then, as Michael is struggling with his tires and he spins out in Orush, and there comes James. And I believe Yigebal has also lost it in Orush, and what a lap then. 3 cars out in Orush at the same time and not involved with each other before it actually happens. And let's see then, with 3 guys on the soft compound, will anyone be able to take that fastest lap from Tim? They do have the chance right now. Marcel just tuning in to see that those 3 cars out in Eau Rouge. Fortunately, all 3 of them keeps going. And James is actually right on the tail of Yigemal now. Well, Michael, if you're listening, you might actually be supposed to give the place back, but he did get a 10-second time penalty by missing the whole chicane like that too. So he does get a big penalty by doing that anyway. We see that James picks up a 3-second time penalty, and he's right on the rear of Yigemal now. He needs to be a little closer than this, I believe, to actually be able to get a mover down on the straight. In the meantime, Matt picks up a penalty. No, Lewis, you will not have that piece of bread. Ooh, as James makes the move work on Yigemal when Yigemal went wide, and that is up to 5th position for James. Unfortunate, I think that is the highest he will get this race. But look at this though, Langfield is actually catching up to Matt Romano right now. With only a couple of more laps to go and a 2-second gap between these two. Can he catch that much? Yeah, Billy behind too, but the gap down to Billy is a bit too big, I believe. Sorry about that, but as we can still see, Langfield is creeping closer and closer on Matt Romano now. Matt, you're in for a chance at a podium today. Make it count. It is preseason, of course, but still a podium. Look at this, the gap between these two now down to 9/10. There's only 3 laps left. Tim has the win unless he does something mysteriously. Turnout isn't the best today, no, Liz, I'll admit that. It is not too unexpected though, as I did get messages from most of the people not racing that they wouldn't be able, so it's not like we had a lot of people just not turning up. They were just not able. Which is unfortunate, but that's how it is sometimes. And Billy has actually lost a little time to Matt and Longfield as Longfield does a mistake and is again outside of DRS on Matt. There isn't many laps left, so he will have to get within a reasonable distance to make it work on a long straight. Longfield. Look at it this way. SRL F1 didn't have more than 10 drivers last week. You're right there, Lewis, but once again with F1 there were drivers who also told us that they couldn't race. Although I do see your concerns, Lewis. But I will have to admit too that it is always a little like this. In preseason races, unfortunately, but some people simply just can't because they're away. It is still, as Jared say, it's still some people on holiday, and there is just some people who isn't that interested in doing preseason either. As we can see that Longfield and Matt Romano go side by side in the bus stop. I believe Matt might have actually outbraked himself a little there. And we're on the second to last lap as Matt Romano is in third now, right behind Longfield. He has DRS, so we might be seeing a move. But we will not see a move by Matt Romano, and it looks then, if we don't see a mistake from Longfield as he's pulling away from Matt. Well, Matt is fighting a little back here. He's not letting Longfield go yet. Longfield is pulling a little away, but Matt is trying to stay with him. Coming on to the final lap, Tim is leading away, and it will be a win for him, and we are gonna follow him on this last lap then, as he comes through Eau Rouge. He wanted to prove himself today. He has done so by doing a dominant winner. At least if he can finish, you can already see him weaving a little to celebrate this. And with that, I am just quickly gonna remember to do that. And team coming to the back straight. It looks like we have our finishing order today. A few retirements. Obviously damage is off for this race, because we doesn't want people to just fly out of the race straight away. But it's Tim Bruce Dalins over the line, showing that he has got some pace there. Then in second place, it looks like we will have Longfield. Coming around the last corner, it's gonna be second place for him. It's gonna be third. It's gonna be second for Matt Romano on penalties by just over a tenth. Then we have Billy Mossam in fourth. James will be in fifth. He could have been further up there, but he did unfortunately be involved in an incident earlier in the race. As we then have our grid with Jägermal in 6th, I believe it was Michael Marlowe in 7th. And with that is our final grid today, with Tim, the only one without penalties too, actually, finishing in first, getting a dominant win. Matt Romano actually snatching that fastest lap at the end. Well, Longfield actually taking the fastest lap with a 46.1. Then Billy in 4th, James in 5th, Jägermal in 6th, Michael Marlowe in 7th, Callum Anderson, Shane and Martin all retired after some incidents. I believe they all actually spun before they retired, but that happens. Hopefully they will do better in the next preseason and when the race is actually starting. With that, I've been Sondre Sorhaug, giving you the commentary today. When the actual season starts, it will probably not be me doing comms for F3, but I am sure it will be somebody doing great comms for this tier. But for now, thank you to everyone who's been watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you later. Bye.